St. Baldrick's was founded by just like regular group of guys who wanted to raise money, and their idea was to raise money by shaving heads, and it just so happened to be that their very first event was on St. Patrick's Day, and so that's kind of why St. Baldrick's has the Irish theme, and the St. Baldrick's, and the bald comes from obviously shaving their heads, and so it just absolutely took off from there and became a huge foundation. And it came to Creighton because Jackie Greene was just really passionate about the cause and wanted to find a way to kind of help support childhood cancer, and she did a great job of introducing it to Creighton, and hopefully it's going to become a year by year thing.
I'm from the Chicagoland area, and it's really popular there. St. Baldrick's is like kind of everywhere. I've had my stepbrother do it for high school every year, and it's just kind of at a lot of different schools and even businesses. So I first heard about it from my dad's work. He works at Hyundai car dealership, and his boss's son had cancer, and so they host an event every year at their work. So my sister and I had planned to do the event because we're like, that's such a great cause, children's cancer, and for both of us to be able to shave our heads and advocate for children's cancer research and raise that money was a very exciting thing for both of us. So we were planning on doing the event in the Chicagoland area, and then my dad's boss's son got too sick, and so they weren't going to do the event last year. So I looked for an event in Nebraska, and there was like none, even in like a couple hour radius. So I was like, well, now's the time, I can start it. And so I decided that I would contact St. Baldrick's and start an event here so that not only I could do it, but I could raise more awareness here since it's not as popular in Nebraska. I think the hardest part getting it started was the fact that no one knew about it at all. So I had to first explain what St. Baldrick's is, and then explain that we're going to be having an event and that you can shave your head or volunteer or raise money. There's so many options to help out. And what my hope is for the event, when I first started it, I was hoping that it would be something that would happen every year at Creighton, even when I'm gone. So to kind of set that in motion, I had a junior this year lead it, John Helling, and so I taught him how to lead organize it, and then what his plan is now is to teach another junior next year how to lead organize it so that it can keep going through that pattern, because I think it's such a good cause, and it's growing in popularity and growing in people knowing about it, and the news, which was really great. I could tell it expanded for that, and what's so great about that is that now more of Omaha can know. So it's not just Creighton. And that was definitely my vision. So I was really proud of John for doing that this year. And then additionally, we had some people from Lincoln. We had more kids that we were honoring, like past kids who have passed away and kids who still have cancer. We had a returning cancer survivor come to the event. Her name's Adriana. She's I think 7 years old. So that was really great to have her there again, and her mom and her grandma.
We had people from the Omaha community who just found out from the newspaper, the Omaha World Herald, or the news, and we were also able to get barbers who were really gracious with their time. That was actually kind of one of the harder things to find, but the barbers that came were absolutely ecstatic about being there, and were more than help, because they had tons of things to do that day, and they sacrificed a lot of their time. The act of shaving our heads in and of itself is a great way to show support, and that it doesn't really matter our physical appearance, and that we're here to kind of help those people who are kind of going through something that we can say we understand, but we won't really. It's really hard to comprehend. It may be something that can't be understood unless you're going through it. So it's definitely a way to an extension of offering help in any way, and it's a humbling experience.
So I was on the mall and I saw my RA shaving someone's head, and I was like, okay. So I went over and checked it out, and I got my head shaved. I knew that last year was a bit smaller and they didn't have as many volunteers as this year, and I know that as I was getting my head cut, they were thanking each other for how like everybody helped out and spent time to, you know, cut people's hair and clean up and gather and all that stuff. And it was good to see, like, you know, students getting together, and, you know, it was a nice positive event. So yeah, I guess my more reason of doing it was I wanted to spread awareness of it. I've had 3 family members die from cancer, and so I'm into, you know, St. Baldrick's, and I've done Relay for Life for the past 7 years, and so I'm always for raising awareness for it. So yeah.
I have so much respect for anyone that came out and shaved their heads that day, but especially women, just because it's definitely a bigger commitment, I feel like, for you guys, or for women, because obviously hair's longer, takes longer to grow back, and it's much more of women just associate with long hair more, and so it's kind of like more of an extension of them. But tremendous courage, and it was just very evident by the amount of people that came, not only to support like the event itself, but people like Carly Presley. She had her whole sorority there, it seemed like, there to support her. So definitely props to all the women that came out and shaved their heads.
Okay, so there was like a lot of photos taken. Like, my roommates sent out like this blast of like, everybody come see Carly get her head shaved. So it was like I had like a mob show up to like, and like everyone was taking photos. I think it was more publicized than like my birth, and it like there were so many photos, and all of them like showed exactly how I was feeling. Like, my facial expressions were like kind of ridiculous, and it was like, I think at first it was like kind of nervous but like excited, and then the guy like, I had really long hair, like it was like down my waist, and so he like cut it off so that it was just like short hair, and he was like, run your hand through your hair, and I did, and I was like, oh like it stops, like there's nothing left. And so that was kind of, I like had a mini freak out, and then like I looked to the table next to me, and like all of my hair was just like laying there, and I was like, okay, well, it's happening, it happened. So I mean, it's something that I'd been thinking about for a really long time. And then like I got invited, you know how they do like the Facebook invites where it's just like a public thing and then everyone invites someone else? Yeah, so I got invited to like the St. Baldrick's event because everyone else was gonna do it, and I was like, oh, it's like a week away, that should be like enough time to do it. And so I contacted, is it John Helling? Yeah, so I emailed him and was like, how do I sign up? Like, can I still sign up? And he was like, yeah, sure, here's what you do. So I went online and signed up, and then kind of that's how it happened.
Yeah, Carly was, she was our top raising participant. To kind of give context, I registered right when the event was registered with St. Baldrick's, which was like February 2nd, before anyone else really knew about the event, still trying to get all the foundational work laid. And I started raising money from then, and I didn't even get $1,000. I was just short of it, and Carly signed up, I think it was like February or April 20th or something like that, and the event was the 28th, and she got I want to say around 1,200, so she definitely had quite a influx of support, so she did a great job.
Awesome. This is my life, make fire cuts. Yeah. Yeah, your calling. Found my calling. Man, I'm wearing black and everything. It's just perfect. It's like the white collar.
You'll be a good grandpa.
Shaving my head to beat kids' cancer. Absolutely. There we go.
It was definitely pretty exciting because there were a lot of people, you could tell it was their first time kind of diving in, because you would kind of take that first chunk out and they would just kind of be like, oh gosh, like no turning back now. And then afterwards they would just like couldn't stop like rubbing their head, and it was definitely it was really, really fun to see their reaction and their kind of bravery to being able to shave their heads as well.
I had no plans against shaving my head, but I had no plans to shave my head. And so, but once I was there, I mean, I was really moved by it. You know, there's a reason why I started it. There's a reason why I feel so at home to cancer research. Side note really quick, my dad had cancer 2 years ago, so I'm very familiar with the cancer process and what that does to adults, let alone kids. Because of that, and then because of something a lady said to me, was the ultimate reasons why I shaved my head again. And I was debating whether to do it with my roommate, and this lady said to me, well, you should, because most people don't have a choice. And that was just like a hit right back to last year, like the reason why I started the event, and that's exactly why. I have a choice, and I want to advocate for those who don't have a choice. It's just hair, you know, all it is hair, and if your hair defines your beauty and defines you, then that's like even more the reason to shave my head, you know? And to have a bunch of bald Creighton people running around is so great, because you can tell that, you know, people really care about some of the problems in society today, and they want to help, and they're willing to sacrifice part of what is normal for them to help these kids. So that's the beauty in the event for me, I think. And being able to share that with children and moms and grandparents and family members of people who have had cancer is just such a beautiful thing. So, yep.